side of the map. This is not going so well here for the Wukong, unfortunately. He's trying to buy as much time
Otherwise,
as he can.
Nongshim are happy to take this fight. Look at the choke point control.
Snowflower does have the Unbreakable Will, so he's going to use it.
To take into BDD's ultimate.
Yeah, it's going to have to be a fantastic ult to come through. Okay, well, Croco's going to miss it. That's the one we were talking about. Final chapter comes down. Snowflower goes for the engage. Closer immediately flashes away. Emperor's Divide going to be used. Is now Closer able to get himself out of the way. Now Canna trying to fight against Prince, who doesn't manage to get the spell shield off. Dove, meanwhile, is going to go extraordinarily low. Somehow, it's Sivir that locks down the Rift Herald, but they
the second time, they in fact did not realize. And now Closer teleports to this turret, which he will not save.
Oh no, Snowflower. Yeah, he's actually going to get spell shielded this time around. Prince just needs one more auto. BDD is now here trying to save his cow, as Dread's going to come on over as well, but it looks like Prince should be able to use better time. But Liv Sandbox didn't back away after the Keeper's verdict, 100% whiffed, and that could have been part of the problem.
I mean, they just were trying to hope that it was going to be good enough for them to get through the choke, and Nongshim were just like, all right, we back off for a second, Keeper's verdict misses, but then BDD was just ready for Snowflower to get in there and extend his charm. It was actually really well coordinated from Nongshim playing around their win conditions in the choke. Kana?
Yeah, well, there is a big Naba, but he doesn't have a lot of his health bar at the moment, as there is the snare from the final chapter. The snips are just ridiculous damage, and Croco going to be able to lock down that kill, and now Snowflower in trouble. He does have to ultimate, and now BDD is going to be the target. The Encore does basically nothing, as, guys, Gwen is immune, and Snowflower now is going to have to obey the laws of the Sand Soldiers. And he's going to be sacrificed. Liv Sandbox find themselves a skirmish like they just somehow managed to do in almost every one of their games.
Well, Kyle is... We'll save you, Kana, but they could not.
Yep, a rise in position there for Closer so that he makes sure that he has a way out. Croco just going to brute force his way in here as Snowflower looks a little bit silly after the flash. From Closer, they just destroy the turret, and now Doves teleport it in. Teleport going to come through from Canna now, but I don't know whether this is what they want. He does get a big Gnar, and there's the Cyclone as well, but Croco survives for so long. Emperor's Divide comes through, but Closer is going to get ripped apart by Ghost. He's doing so much damage on the Aphelios, and this is what it looks like when they do manage to have Ghost in a team fight. Beat Drop comes in, Dove is going to mitigate it entirely, and Prince manages to get that auto reset with the Ricochet.
Will they find Dread? I don't think so. That's just his clone. He's already gotten over the wall. Dove wants to chase him down, but I think he's just so far away at this stage, although how greedy is he? Was seen here.
But it's a great buffer there of the Shifting Sands. That gets Closer to relative safety. That's another Conquering Sandstorm as well as Croco. He's going to flash out of the way of the Gnar. That was fantastic. And now the final chapter is going to come through. Liv Sandbox finding the team fight kind of out of nowhere here as the needlework comes in. Ghost is the target. They're not going to be able to find him just yet as Liv Sandbox just brute force control of the river.
Yeah, they brute force control of it, you know, because Croco just eats a bunch of cooldowns, pushes them back, and also BDD, the most important ultimate, he uses it on a target that could just get over the wall. Unfortunately, I mean, it was a great play from Closer. If they catch the Azir, it's a totally different story. Here we go.
Yeah, Keeper's verdict onto the clone, though, as now Snowflower dives in. That is going to be the Drake secured by Nongshim. Also, Poppy is just being taken out. Dove trying to get himself to relative safety as Prince is looking to just run his way out of the pit. Closer so close to death, and now can he land the house? Yes, he can. Locks down the Azir. The Prince is going to be able to make it out, but that is 3 swift kills in trade for just the cow.
Yeah, that should be a Baron. That second Drake here for Nongshim. They pick that one up, and they have enough damage here with this 2-item Aphelios. BDD
in Nongshim at the beginning, but sorry, in Liv Sandbox at the beginning, but Nongshim are just really playing well today.
Yeah, the coordination has been very up and down in this game. We've seen some great calls from them. We've seen some less great calls, but overall, I think Liv Sandbox's comp just isn't going to work out in longer team fights, and they couldn't accelerate the Sivir enough. Yeah, she's sitting on 3-0 and 3 now, but in the laning phase, she was extremely far behind. They didn't get to take any of those fights. As Dread's got an angle here. No flash, but that's Cyclone.
Yeah, just threatening, and he is going to be threatening enough to make sure that this turret does fall down. That is going to only increase that Baron power play close to 3k now as Croco moving around the side, but Dread's not going to fight off any bait or anything like that. As now there is a big old Gnar, and there's the knock-up as well. There's just too much CC. You've only got 1 spell shield. The cat is immediately going to be taken down as well as Croco at least survives. but now they don't have their Sivir. This could be absolutely disastrous for Liv Sandbox, as this inhibitor is not going to be long for the world. Ghost is just so strong, and he had item disadvantage against the Sivir, but it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
He spends her entire time in the sky and then dies.
Yeah, it's the CC that Liv Sandbox are facing with this composition. It's so strong. There is not any long-term damage outside of the Gwen, because Sivir just cannot match the auto attacks that an Aphelios can, and this is just chain CC. Goodbye, you're dead. You're like, Yumi's not going to save you here. And then, of course, the Yumi dies instantly afterwards. Just pops on top of a Cyclone. No counterplay, and Kana sets this one up. And now, I mean, we're looking at, that was the first death of either of these 80 carries, right?
Yeah.
Like, Ghost and Prince have both played this game out so well. They played these 80 carries to their full potential, but you could see when Aphelios is given a free ride, those item spikes hit harder. You feel them a lot more. And this is another of those games, like, we haven't seen it yet with the Sivir, where we go, okay, what happens in the late game if it's just an even game against the enemy 80 carry? So far, with all the peel that Nongshim have, it's not looking great.
Yep, and it's starting to look like the king of close-range 80 carries remains Aphelios. And if you can make sure that everyone is fighting in that vicinity and you have a composition full of very close-range CC, things are going to work. It's starting to really make this Alistar look like an absolute masterstroke.
Yeah, really. At first we were thinking like, okay, I mean, this kind of works with the comp, but it's a lot of comfort for Snowflower. It's an older champion. And I was a little bit worried about it. I was like, ooh, you know, if this one doesn't work out, if he plays it poorly, he's going to be super heavily criticized. We might see another substitution. He and Effort both have a similar champion pool. But no, he's played it very well, especially in that first Rift Herald fight. That's where the big exchange happened for him, but he's ulted really well. He's gotten caught a few times, but it works out so well to make sure Ghost survives in 5v5 team fights. Yeah, we can harp on some of the smaller mechanical errors for this player later, but in terms of the win conditions, Nongshim's pulling it off.
Yeah, 100%. Level 16 now for Ghost as well. Still has that slight advantage when it comes to CS, but that doesn't really matter now, as we've really started to hit our item spikes. And Nongshim, they can have another team fight like they have been throughout this entire game. It could just be lights out for Liv Sandbox in this first game.
I think the only real opportunity here for Liv Sandbox is a big combo whiff, like BDD messes up his ultimate, goes to like wastes his Moonlight Vigil, and somehow you just have this War of Attrition win. Dove doesn't have his Void Staff just yet. It's a big problem with the Force of Nature that Kana is holding on to right now. He's got that plus a Randuin's, so he's kind of got both sides of the coin here. It's so difficult to kill him. You can see the Negatron Cloak is also picked up here for Dread. Without that Void Staff, I just think this is not a winnable fight for Liv Sandbox right now, any fight that they could potentially take. And this is the same problem we had on the first Rift Herald. It was like, do you want to take this one, Liv Sandbox? They took the second one and failed. They walked away from the first one. If you walk away from this one, you're going to lose your base. It's a catch-22 problem.
And this is Crescendo Baron. This is going down extraordinarily quickly. Croco trying to get in there, but the headbutt. The bodyguard here with the cow is going to be good. Final chapter comes on through, though. It might be a 50-50. Croco gets knocked into the pit, and it's going to be stolen by the Poppy after he was dead. What the heck just happened? It doesn't really matter, though, because Nongshim is still going to stomp the team fight. Emperor's Divide lands onto one, and it does not matter. That's the ace. And Nongshim will win game one.
Yeah, I don't know how that was stolen. I guess red buff maybe is what burned through there after he died, unless it was an error or a bug with our UI. It just showed up weird, but it doesn't matter. We don't care about who has the Baron, because Nongshim is going to take the Nexus. That's what the Baron power play is. It's negative Nexus.
Yeah, the good old Baron for Nexus trade, and it wasn't even your Baron to take. Oh my goodness, Nongshim out of the gates absolutely amazingly here today. And I don't know what happened between last week.
앞에 막았어. 앞에부터. 나 이거 싸움봐. 탈진.
이긴 했다.
앞에 11을 볼게. 11을. 미드 라인 가면 끝난다, 얘들아.
미드 가면 끝난다.
때려. 나이스. 좋았다, 얘들아.
이거지.
이거야, 우리야.
이거야. 이거 하고 싶었다고.